Podcasts are a pretty big deal. An estimated 48 million episodes are floating around online, and in 2020, more than a third of Americans listen to podcasts regularly. It's understandable if you want to start a podcast of your very own too. Matter of fact, you should. But in the midst of starting, you might be asking yourself, what kind of podcast should I start? Now, both your podcast topic and format impact your workload and how your audience reacts to your content. So let's talk about that. I'm Angel Marie from ConvertKit, here to walk you through creating a great podcast that's both enjoyable for you and your listeners. Let's first talk about why you need to choose a podcast structure early. Building an audience is all about consistency. For podcasts, it's also important to maintain consistency in your show format. Choosing a podcast structure up front gives you a roadmap for your work and helps you deliver engaging content time and time again. Now that you know why that's important, let's go ahead and dive into the 7 different kinds of podcast formats that you could choose this very week, along with the pro and a con of each one. Number 1, interview podcasts. Interviews are arguably the most common podcast format, with a consistent host talking to a new guest each week. Now, while guests and topics can vary, there's always a theme that ties them together. Now, the pro of doing interview podcasts is that guests help you fill the conversation and bring unique insight. But the con of this is that there's more outreach work to arrange those new guests. Number 2, conversational podcasts. Now, these ones have a couple of hosts that spend each episode talking on a topic. It feels more like a casual discussion between friends. The pro of this? There's less pre-planning since the format is pretty relaxed. The con? Since conversational chemistry matters, you'll need to choose your co-host very wisely. Number 3, educational podcasts. These podcasts can be similar to an interview or a conversational podcast, but they focus on teaching about a topic such as growing a business or improving your painting skills. For example, each month, creator Chris Lang releases an episode of the Property Briefings podcast, where he teaches everything he knows about investing in commercial real estate. The pro of this is that it can help you build authority in your niche, but the con is that some topics are tough to grasp through audio rather than visuals. Number 4, solo podcasts. No co-host? No worries. Solo podcasting is an easy way to start since you don't need a co-host or connections with guests. All you need is an idea, some basic recording equipment, and a free hosting platform. For example, Ashley Good is a mindset coach and a branding strategist who helps her audience shift their mindset every single week with her Position to Purpose solo podcast. Now, the pro of a solo podcast is that you can work on your own schedule and your own timeline. But the con, on the other hand, is that it's up to you to carry the entire conversation on every episode. Number 5, nonfiction storytelling. You could create a podcast that follows a true story or shares the latest updates in a niche. The pro of this? Creating flexibility with editing and production helps bring stories to life. The con, on the other hand, is that there's a lot of pre-planning that's needed before hitting record. Number 6, podcast theater. Like radio shows, you can use a podcast to tell a fictional story over audio episodes. You can create a new story for your podcast or recreate your existing work in a new format. Now, the pros of this is that there's less saturation with this format. But the con? You'll need to coordinate content and voice actors to make that happen. Last but not least, number 7, bite-sized content or limited time series. Maybe you aren't interested in 40-minute podcast episodes. You can still create a podcast. Bite-sized episodes or limited run podcast series let you dip your toes into podcasting or keep lessons short and quick. The pro of this podcast format is that shorter episodes means less prep and editing. On the other hand, the con is that consolidating info into fewer words can be challenging. Now, out of all the 7 podcast formats we talked about, to pick the right one for you means considering your strengths, your audience, and how you want to use your podcast for your specific business. And once you do, you can build a landing page to direct your listeners to so you can house your community in a space that you actually own. That's right, I'm talking all about an email list. Let's go ahead and walk through what it looks like to create a podcast landing page that both promotes your show and gets listeners right on your email list so that you can keep updating them on upcoming episodes and even products or services you might want to sell to them in the future too. First, head to the Landing Pages and Forms tab. From here, click on Create New, then click Landing Page. Next, choose your landing page template. You can even filter this search by category to get more specific with the landing page design you prefer. Since we're focused on podcasts for this particular demo, let's choose Podcast. From there, pick and choose the podcast landing page design that you prefer. Next, you'll start customizing your very own landing page. Go ahead and give your landing page a title, a high-converting headline, a subtitle, a high-quality image that you can upload from the options that it provides you with. And you can even utilize the convenient plus button that appears on the left to add more creative components to your landing page, like adding the actual links to where your podcast episodes live. When you're done finalizing the details of your landing page, you're now going to want to customize the incentive email. The incentive email is the automated confirmation email that your subscribers will automatically receive when they opt in. In this example, we're offering a daily morning checklist. To reflect that messaging in your incentive email, just head to Settings, Incentive, upload your downloadable lead magnet, or paste the URL link to your lead magnet, and then head to where you can edit the incentive email content by clicking right here. You can customize this email to your liking by adding a personalized subject line, body content where you thank listeners for tuning into your podcast, and even editing the button that subscribers will click on in order to get your lead magnet. When you're done creating your landing page, all you're going to do next is click Save, head to Share, and copy and paste this landing page link in your show notes or anywhere else so you can turn your podcast listeners into true fans by getting them on your email list. All right, friends, that completes today's creator education video on choosing a podcast format and how to get listeners on your email list once you do. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next creator education video.